It's full time. It's full time. Manchester United 3, Newcastle 2. A game that was really in total control for the side of Man United. And Newcastle only had to counter-attack. And United went ahead to put in a very thrilling performance on the night. And I tell you what, it really turned out as a win for Man United. And they've gone ahead to obviously respond in the best way possible. You know what it means when you've gone ahead to see to it that you've not been winning. Guys, when did we last win a game of football in the Premier League? I think we beat Sheffield by 4-2, right? 4-2. That was the result when you're playing against the side of Sheffield. Drew 1-1 with Burnley. lost to Brentford. Lost to Arsenal, and now we are back to winning ways. Welcome to the Manchester United Matters channel. This is what I told you the match preview, that I felt we are winning. I felt we are winning because there is no way that side of Newcastle was going to survive when Manchester United has seen itself getting in those players back. You saw to it that we had a variety of players, and even our bench was really very, very threatening to the manager of Newcastle, because if you have Lisandro Martinez, Rashford, Anthony, Eriksson, who else? Rasmus Højlund on the bench, you obviously have to understand that any manager who will be facing United at Old Trafford will be really very, 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 very afraid or confused to press any button. And I tell you what, when Erik ten Hag pressed his, though he took long, they went ahead to obviously pay off, because that's how Rasmus Højlund comes in through to put that back at the back of the net. Let's see close to 400 likes mark this video as we obviously get into the match breakdown in here onto the United Matters channel. We thank God for the gift of life, the Muslims. Barakallahu fikum, and may the living to God bless you and bless you abundantly. Now, in the 31st minute, it was Kobbie Mainoo who went ahead, obviously, put in what we call a very exquisite finish, and it was the brilliancy of Amad Diallo passing him through, and went ahead, obviously, make it count. And that's what makes Amad Diallo a different kind of player in this team. I've already told you that Amad Diallo is the best right attacking midfielder that we've gone ahead to have at the club of Man United. And people are like, Rokani, you are lying, you are lying, you are lying, you are lying, you are lying. But am I still lying? Am I still lying? I don't think that I'm still lying, because this is the guy that has gone ahead to obviously overturn lots of things. I just went on to be at TikTok before I came here. I think before that game of football really started, at around like 2 hours to the game, 2-3 hours to the game, I was on a certain TikTok live with my mates there, and I was like telling them Amad Diallo is better than Anthony. And there were fans of other teams and some few of Man United coming through to confirm to me that Amad is not better than Anthony. And I told them, which moments of Anthony do you remember that he has gone ahead to produce, than Amad Diallo? Amad this season had started only one goal, has started only one game against Arsenal, and you saw his performances. I read them the stats of Amad Diallo, and I told them, I challenged them to get me stats of Anthony that match the stats of that guy. And this guy has not been, his first game and second game have been against the top 6 teams in the league. The top 6 games in the league. You understand? Top 6 games in the league. Can you imagine? Top 6 games, the top 6 teams in the league, against Arsenal and against Newcastle. But against Arsenal, he was exquisite, and against Newcastle, he has been magnificent. In the first goal, he had a very good goal, and you saw what he did when he shot at goal and it went to the back of the net. There is a moment where he really had a 1-2, with his player, and then he went ahead, obviously, get a return pass, and he took an extra touch, but the defender of Newcastle had read him like a book and stopped him from obviously going to where he deserves to be. So, for me, Amad Diallo is really a very good player. And to put in such a performance in your second start, it's really giving and obviously showing everyone who thought that Man United should obviously go in for, so that should keep Anthony here. If Manchester United happen to go in and really get in Olise, that means Olise will be competing with Amad with that performance, and I bet he's gonna start in the game of Brighton with that performance, there is no way you tell me that Anthony can ever match it. Because for 2 seasons, Anthony has gone ahead to play very many games, and for only this season, Anthony has played 28 games this season. And this season, I think Ahmad has produced better performances than him. The output of Amad Diallo is nowhere close or near to that of Anthony, yet Anthony has gone ahead to play more games than Amad Diallo. I tell you, Ahmad hasn't played 10 Premier League games for Man United, even if you count those that has gone ahead to come off the bench and add them to these 2 that he has gone ahead to start. I tell you that. So, that is the beauty that I went ahead to love about this guy. And I was one of those people that stood in here and I told you, don't select Erik ten Hag for not getting in Amad Diallo, because this is the manager who doesn't practice what we call favoritism. That is it. This manager doesn't practice favoritism. If he was, then Donny van de Beek, his own making from Ajax, would have been at Man United. You understand? But he goes in for the best player who can come in through and really put in a shift that is really well required for at the club of Man United. And I'm really excited about Erik ten Hag, and for everyone who thinks that the manager should be sacked, you've seen today that when he's having a team back, when he's having players here, he can do the needful. But imagine we came into this game of football with Tyrell Malacia out, Luke Shaw out, Rafael Varane out, Lindelof out, Mason Mount out, Anton Martial out. Those are 6 players. You understand? We are having 6 players out, and if you can really play a season when you are only having 6 players out, that will be okay, because you can find means of how to press your buttons right and really get in the best of a player or the best of patterns to win these games of football. And you saw it today that Newcastle today had to really break sweat to get those 2 goals, because Man United at every occasion found themselves ahead of them. So that is Amad Diallo for you. Talking about Kobbie Mainoo, he has gone ahead to score his 3rd. I think it's his 3rd Premier League goal. He scored his first Premier League goal against Liverpool, and he went ahead to score another one against, was it Everton? There is a team he scored, and today has gone ahead to get his in his 3rd, which is his 4th into the season. And this boy is just amazing. And you saw to it that when they took him off, you saw to it that that midfield lacked a player of his caliber, and he went ahead to score that goal. You talk about Rasmus Højlund coming off the bench in the 84th minute and scoring that goal. I was really excited, because Rasmus Højlund is that kind of player that hasn't gone ahead to be getting in service from Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes, once again, for the 2nd time in a row, when he has gone ahead to play with Rasmus Højlund, he has gone ahead to give him an assist, and Rasmus Højlund needed to really pull out with his weak foot, that is the right foot, into the bottom corner, and he did it. Remember, when you're playing against Sheffield, Bruno Fernandes was responsible for that assist of the young man, that is Rasmus Højlund, when we made it 4-2. And today, we've gone ahead to see to it that the man himself, that is Bruno Fernandes, has gone ahead to obviously get him an assist. And Bruno has been really magnificent, because even in that first goal, you saw to it that when Ahmad fed him in, there is the flick he does that goes through those defenders of Newcastle, and it finds him in a better way to obviously register that assist. What a way to obviously win that game of football. And for me, I'm just excited, because I now know that the job of Erik ten Hag is safe, and Amad Diallo has gone ahead to establish himself into that team. Because for me, I'm 100% sure that our right attack midfielder to start in every game should be Amad Diallo. And that has gone ahead to be extorted. That has gone ahead to be orchestrated or exhibited in those 2 games that Ahmad has gone ahead to play. So smash the like button. Close to how many times? Close to 400 times, if you feel like Amad Diallo is the lad that is supposed to be leading our line throughout the season. Smash it like never before and continue giving us the best that we really deserve at the side of Manchester United. Now, I've gone ahead to see other people talking about Amrabat. Now, Amrabat, for these 2 games, he has gone ahead to obviously put out a very huge puzzle for everyone who wants him out. And I tell you what, for this tackle, when the game was 1-1, I tell you what, it might really get him or earn him a contract at Manchester United. You get? Look, this is how good this player is. He really tracks back, and it was, I think, Anthony Gordon who passes it to Alexander Isak, and it was a 1-2-3 v1. The game the game has just gone ahead to start in the second half, just 6-7 minutes in, and when Isak reached here, I thought like it's over. I thought it's over. But the man known as Amrabat came in through and really put in that block, and that ball went over the bar, and we had to defend the corner. That is it, how Amrabat really did it. And if that goal goes in around the 51st minute, you know the mountain that Man United had to climb to obviously win it, but he kept us into that game of football, and he's the reason as to why Manchester United went ahead to obviously keep themselves in the know. And when the whole of Amad Diallo came in through, it really had value because it was taking us into the leading position again, other than being an equalizer. But that stop by Amrabat and the way he tracked back with that energy was really exquisite, and we are starting to see to it that he's the man, or he's the main man into that team of Manchester United. He gives you that energy, he brings in that composure. You've got to hit to see to it that he only put a foot wrong, I think, only once, and I don't blame him, because if a player makes like 70 passes and 69 are really accurate, right, and 69 are really accurate, and one is really sloppy, I don't obviously go ahead to blame him. I know the first goal that we concede is because of Amrabat. He loses that ball into the midfield. But let's not forget the good that this man has on ahead to do for the club of Man United. That block was really exquisite, and he was really good. And I tell you, these two games that Amrabat has gone ahead to play might earn him a position might earn him a contract that is really permanent, that will be triggered by Man United, because he's a player of just 22 million pounds. And I tell you, if I'm Man United, I obviously pay off that amount of money because he has a resale value. You keep him here for one season. If you feel like you need to get in another stadium that is really decent, you really get him after in here, because the situation we are in at Man United is really tricky. How is it tricky? You're having Casemiro, who is putting in brilliant performances, and I think we should keep him here. And Amrabat, who has gone ahead to show us huge potential into that team that can really put in a shift. Now, if you're having a player like him and has gone ahead to put in a shift, all what you have to do is, with the limited budget that we're having at Man United, do one thing. Pay 22 million pounds for Amrabat, keep Casemiro, right? That means your midfield will be sorted. We won't be needing to go into bringing another midfielder. So after that, go out and use the balance to see to it that you get in other players at the club of Man United in other positions. For example, you can get into central defenders, right? Because Rafael Varane has gone ahead to leave. And after getting into central defenders, you can get in another striker that can come in through to help a little bit onto Rasmus Højlund, because today the manager has gone ahead to send out a very clear message to the board that I've gone ahead to play Bruno as a false number 9, and I need another striker to assist or to compete with Rasmus Højlund. You understand? When you bring in a striker of like 50-60 million pounds, maybe Benjamin Šeško, that means you would have gone ahead to spend close to 150 million pounds, other than us going in for expensive central midfielders that are really gonna take some time to catch up with the club of Man United. And I tell you, with that performance, if I told you are Sir Dave Bresfold, if you are Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if you are Jason Willox, you'll sit down and obviously understand that we need to keep Amrabat here. I tell you, Amrabat has to really stay here. Why? He's cheap. 21 million pounds or 22 million pounds. You keep him at Man United. He has already gone ahead to suit in the system. He won't really need to really get more time to learn. You keep him here, and we obviously strengthen our central defense. We get in another striker, get in Olise, and get our season kick-starting. That is it. Because For Amrabat, he gives you something different altogether in that midfield, the energy, the intensity. You can't tell me that even if you're selling Casemiro, you have to keep Amrabat here. You let Casemiro and Amrabat go, that means you have to bring in two central midfielders who are really novices in the style of play of Man United. That is really bad, and it's not a sign of any well-learning team. But we wait and see what United is going to decide on Amrabat, because he's a cheaper option. And remember, if we are to sign him, we are to pay that amount of money before the end of the month of May. That is it. Will United obviously do the needful to obviously keep him here? I think he will. And he's going to be a starter in all the games that you are left with. Against Brighton, as we come up Friday morning to give you the match preview, I know he's really going to be one of those players that is going to be kept in here, the club of Man United. And in the player ratings, I'll obviously get you exactly what his game by numbers were, as I did after we played against Arsenal, and I told you exactly what his game by numbers was. Guys, this block is for the World Cup. I tell you, it's gonna keep this guy here. It's gonna keep this guy here. You know, the energy, the enthusiasm, everything you want from your midfielder, this guy's gonna hate to have it. And I think Ten Hag, after we lost against Brentford, he really got to know that I need Amrabat in that midfield. Why? When he brought on Amrabat in that central midfield, we were not porous. And I told you, Eriksson in that double pivot with Kobe Mainoo, he had gone ahead to give the side of Brentford an open check, you know, to obviously do whatever they wanted to us. But these games against Arsenal, you saw how solid we were in the midfield. And then this game today has also been one of the best that I've gone ahead to obviously be given a very good goal by Amrabat. And I tell you, with the performance of Casemiro, I tell you, we have to keep this guy here. Look at this sweep off the line, and today has gone ahead to put in a very exquisite performance. That is Casemiro. Look at that sweep off the line. Have you seen it? The header was nodded here, I think, by Ban, past Onana, and guess who sweeps it over the line with his head? It was Casemiro in the 36th minute, and that equalizer would have gone ahead to give them a very huge goal into the game. And I tell you, Manchester United was helped by Casemiro. And this is why I tell you, I would keep Casemiro here. Why? He has shown us that if you're not having defenders, he can come in through and really put in that performance in the central defense. And do you know when he started playing as a central defender? You know, I think the game we played before, it was the game we played before, Coventry City. That's when Casemiro started to be played as a central defender. And I think it's now close to 7 games where Casemiro has gone ahead to play as a central defender. And you've gone ahead to see that every time he has gone ahead to play in that system as a central defender, he's performing better. Apart from that mistake he did against Arsenal, there is nothing else. You'll obviously come here and obviously remember about him doing wrong into that game of football, you understand? But when he really comes in through and really performs very well, we have to give him the flowers. And that's why I tell you, I would on any day keep him at the club of Man United, because I wouldn't like us to see Man United going all in for players that are not really great. And right now, it's really going to be hard for us to really get in quality players, because us playing in Europe is going to be hard. To convince a player to come in at Man United is going to be really hard. Why don't we keep Casemiro, keep Amrabat here, then we use them through the next season, because Casemiro is not going to be playing the Copa America. He's going to really have enough rest, and by the time we start the preseason, he will be ready to go. And I think that's the same story that Ineos is really looking at, because it's hard to get in quality players when you're really not in the Champions League. And you keep Casemiro around here to obviously school a little bit of Kobe Mainoo, and after schooling a little bit of Kobe Mainoo, you really get him off next season, because you'll be left with, I think, a year or two onto his contract in there at the club of Man United. That's why I love to keep Casemiro. I don't know what your thoughts are about it, but I think we should obviously have a very interactive session with you as far as all this is really concerned. But I tell you, Man United has gone ahead to put in a shift, and it's not it that when Rashford came on, the field of, I don't know whether you guys noticed it. When Rashford came on, you saw to it that we were porous. We lacked a player who could obviously close down. And I don't know why this guy known as Rashford doesn't track back. That's my problem with him. And when I come out and tell you that he should really leave the club of Man United, I have my reasons. He has come on to play like just 10-15 minutes, and he finds himself in a position of not really putting his body on the line. You know, when Garnacho was there, he was tracking back. Amad Diallo was tracking back. And I was like, what shit is Bruno doing? Sorry, what shit is this guy doing? Marcus Rashford, you know? He doesn't track back, and he doesn't really try to put in a fight. Why on earth would you like to keep a player who costs us? And I said this in the game of Arsenal, that why we played like that, it was because we had Amadi Diallo holding that ball and tracking back very well. Then Scott McTominay was in the central midfield, and we had some huge numbers. And you saw to it that when Bruno dropped back in the midfield, you saw what happened. You know, he runs everywhere. He doesn't have that positional sense. And I think that is one of the things that Ten Hag should obviously school him about, that you need to stay in the central midfield and let Amrabat and Scott McTominay, by then, after Kobe Mainoo was taken off, don't get outnumbered into that midfield. You understand? So, we are really excited to see to it that we've gone ahead to obviously get in a shift. Now, there is a player that people haven't gone ahead to give his flowers, but today, I tell you what, this man deserves his flowers. When it was 2-1, see what he does. A shot directed to him, and Onana saves it. It's a 1v1. You understand? A 1v1 save by Andre Onana. As if not enough, there was another moment where Onana came in to be our savior, you know, and he had to obviously put this ball over the bar, and it went into a corner. That is Andre Onana for you, and that's how he went ahead, obviously putting a very good shift into that encounter, and that is Andre Onana for you. Look at those saves, you know, in a couple of like 2-3 minutes, he kept us in the game. And I tell you, every time he was called up for, he was like, I'm here to do the needful. And that is Andre Onana. I just love the player. And with a very good defense, I think he'll obviously keep in a very good shift in there for you. So, for me, I'm excited about what we've gone ahead to do today. The return of Lisandro Martinez was really another boost in the 79th minute. He came on with Marcus Rashford, and he was obviously given the best. Amadi Diallo was given a standing ovation at Old Trafford as he was taken off, and you know what it means when United is really doing that. But the goals we concede, the corner that comes in through as the second one, I tell you what, I was pissed because you can't tell me that in this game you don't have a player at the edge of the 18 yards box area. The shortest player on the pitch should be around there to obviously block anything that comes in through, and no one really went ahead to obviously react immediately to stop Hull from shooting against us. You understand? And that forced us to be having what we call a heavy ending of a game, because Newcastle were like, we can obviously get in an equalizer and obviously end the hopes of Man United to be playing in Europe. So it was a very good game to watch, and I really loved every bit about it. And for everyone who thought that United couldn't win this, shame upon you. And there are those that want Ten Hag out. They were like, United should lose, such that Eric Ten Hag gets a very huge boo when he's addressing the fans of Man United. But shame upon you, this manager is still here, and he's going to promise us that we are going to go to Wembley and really try to win something there against Man City. No way they are taking a double. At least let them win the Premier League and let us take the FA Cup. That is it. For second time in a row, we are going to be playing the same team into the finals of the FA Cup. Now, Manchester United had 17 shots. Newcastle had 21. Man United had 8 shots on target. Newcastle had 8. 45% ball possession by Man United. 55% ball possession by Newcastle. 360 passes completed by Man United. Newcastle completed 420, 78% passing accuracy by Man United, and Newcastle had 81% passing accuracy. 16 fouls by Man United, 7 fouls by Newcastle, 3 yellow cards to both sides, and I think Casemiro got 1. Who else had a yellow card at the club of Man United? I think Amad Diallo, that fight, I like the way he was fighting in there for the team of Man United. Then, no red cards were issued, but Casemiro almost got a second bokeh buff, did an offense that would have gone ahead to cost him a yellow card, that would have gone ahead to see him sent off the field of play. But I just liked how this guy went ahead to obviously officiate the game of football. Then, 1 offside to the side of Man United and 2 offsides to the side of Newcastle. 9 corners to Man United and 9 corners to the side of Newcastle. But one thing I really liked about the corners that we are put in by the club of Man United were that they were off the training pitch. I just loved it. You saw close to 3 times when Bruno Fernandes was deliberately looking out for Amad Diallo, and it finally had to pay off. You get? It finally had to pay off, and it gave us imminent results. So that's what I love about Man United, and Bruno Fernandes deserves a hail. Involved in 3 goals. All of the 3 goals have been really involved in there for you, and I tell you what, it's really gonna be one of the most important attributes that will ever come out to see at the side of Manchester United. And we love every bit that we're gonna hate to see that game of football, and Bruno Fernandes is that man that deserves his flowers. Now, how does the Premier League table look, and what are our chances to obviously get into Europe through the table? Before we play the FA Cup finals with Man City. Arsenal 88 points. All the teams have gone here to play 37 games. Man City 88, Arsenal 86 points, Liverpool 79, Aston Villa 68. Now, when you look at these top 4, they are already into the Champions League, even Aston Villa. Tottenham Hotspur 63 points, then Chelsea is having 60 points, Newcastle is having 57, and Man United is having 57. Now, Newcastle is going to be playing about Brentford, and all you pray for as a United fan is for Newcastle to go there and really drop a point. You understand? When they drop points, they will be at 58. And if at all you go to Brighton and really register what we call a win of close to 1 goal or what, we'll go to 60 points. When we go to 60 points, that will put us in the 7th position. And that will wait for which team is going to be really winning the UEFA Europa League. And if at all that team is really Man City, then I think we'll be taking like 3 teams into the taking 2 teams into the UEFA Europa League. But I think the best chance we have is to see to that we get a win. We get a trophy and go direct to the UEFA Europa League. However much I want us to play in Europe, but I wouldn't like to see us playing the Conference League. That is it. But though, I'd love to see to it that we get in that competition and really do the needful. But all in all, it was a very good game. Beautiful display by Man United, and smash the like button. We are only having 17 people that have gone to smash the like button. Smash it to 100 times. Now, let me go into your comments as we obviously sum it up here. Mbabali Mike Ahmad is a joy to watch, obviously. Mbabali Mike, I like his composure and his run. In fact, he is my missing player in the team. Obviously, I've always gone ahead to call for him to come in through, and finally, he has gotten his chance, and he has gone ahead to obviously use it very well. And you have to give Amad Diallo his flowers, because there are very many players that you can obviously call for the manager to get into the team, and they come in through, and they really down tools. But for Amad Diallo, he hasn't been disappointing. He has put in the required shift, and that's what Manchester United has gone ahead obviously play like that. Sendagide Joshua, Mr. Aradi, thanks for the work. Hongs to Man United. All right, thank you to you. You're welcome, my brother. Silva Onyayit, my brother Aradi. Eric Ten Hag is a good coach, but only one problem is stubbornness. I wish he has been using Amrabat ahead of Casemiro, or Scott McTominay and Amad Diallo ahead of Anthony. Have you seen those guys? Yeah. I've been one of the regular critics of Erik ten Hag on doing what he did. I've been one of the regular critics on really criticizing him doing that. And I think you can obviously back with me because I've come out and said Amad Diallo, Amrabat deserve to be in the team. And at a certain point, I thought that maybe Erik ten Hag had gonna hit obviously fall out with Amrabat, because the question was always, why isn't Amrabat gotten into the team of Man United yet? He can really give us what exactly we are missing: the intensity, the energy, the aggressiveness. You understand? So I was like, when is he getting these players in? And finally, towards the end of the season, he has gone ahead to get them in, and they've gone ahead to put in a very beautiful shift. So we wait to see how things really pan out for especially Amrabat, because I would love us to keep Amrabat. He has shown us what he can do at Man United. Then Huzai Fanats, I love Ahmad, is too good to watch. He's a joy to watch. Akuguziwe Sebastian, hey, already Ahmad is better than all our wingers. Yeah, and I tell you, he's even better than Garnacho. You know, when you look at the composure that Amad Diallo gets here, when he gets on that ball, if Garnacho can borrow that from Ahmad, he's going to become one of the best players in the world. He gets into better positions, but he's very selfish. He thinks of running before he obviously knows where he's going. But with time, I know the manager Erik ten Hag will obviously solve that equation, and this guy will become what we want and will gain that composure like what Ahmad really has. You saw to it that each and every time you get the ball to Ahmad, you're 100% sure that we are going to keep it. He doesn't run unnecessarily. He doesn't run anyhowly. He runs with a purpose. He passes with a purpose, and that's what makes Amad Diallo a different kind of player amongst all the wide forwards that we have at Manchester United. Kennedy Mpande, nice game United request to our new board. Give Ten Hag time and players he needs, cause United Ten Hag is not a problem at United, and thanks already for the good work. Keep it up. Enjoying you from Zambia. Thank you for watching you from Zambia. And I tell you, Ten Hag is going nowhere. Ten Hag is going nowhere, because how do you sack such a coach? You want to build on the young players. He has showed you that. He has Kamboala in the team, Amad Diallo in the team, Kobe Mainoo in the team, Garnacho in the team, Rasmus Højlund in the team. The Whitleys are coming in through. The Amas are coming in through. You have some talented players like McAllister's into the under-18s that's going to win 3 trophies this season coming in through. You understand? So there is no way you tell me that you can sack such a manager who, you know, he has their gateway into the first team. The Fosun Omoris are really there. Omaris are really there, and they are coming in through. So I tell you, he's the right man for the job, and he's going nowhere. I tell you this. And you are going to see how United looks when you're playing against Man City, because we are almost going to be having every player available to face Man City in the FA Cup final. And on Sunday, keep your eyes onto the screen and really watch how Man United goes ahead to annihilate that side of Brighton. We are going to rip them apart. I tell you, we are going to rip them apart at their stadium of Amnex, Old Falmer Stadium. Umal Twinomogisha, I think I'm the 4th person here for sure. I love the way Amrabat protects our defense from opponents, protects Casemiro and Evans. How I wish him and Diallo future in the FA Cup final. Obviously, they are going to feature. They are going to feature because all I know about Ten Hag, it's all about your performances. We know that Amrabat, when he was performing well, he was into the right box with Erik ten Hag and was getting into the team. And this way I give Erik ten Hag credit that the training sessions at Man United just rated off Amrabat, and there was no reason to get him on. And when I think he improved his training sessions and was performing better, Ten Hag got him in the team. We all know that Ten Hag is that manager who, we are told, he gets you into the team because of your training performances. That is Erik ten Hag for you. So I think Amrabat has gone ahead to kickstart, though towards the late end of the season, but that will really entice the board and Erik ten Hag to keep him here. Kawuchi Hassan, Ahmad is class above. Obviously, they are a class above. Then Liveneta, that was a pleasant surprise of a performance. I still don't think Ten Hag is manned. Ahmad was exceptional, and I have no idea how he hadn't played all this season. Injuries have been the problem, and when he proved himself with the manager during the training sessions, he told him, please, now get into the team. And the big statement to show you that Ahmad Diallo is the player that Erik Ten Hag is really looking at to be his right attack midfielder in his first team is starting him against Arsenal. Ahmad had not got ahead to start in any Premier League game. Even when he performed against Liverpool well, he never got himself a chance to get in. In the game of Nottingham Forest, where he came out and put in a cameo, he was not given a chance to play. But when he trained very well, the manager got him in the game of Arsenal, and he was like, Anthony, I've given you your chances. You've gone ahead to misuse them. It's Ahmad Diallo time. It's Ahmad Diallo time. And maybe even the manager is sending a message to the board that maybe we don't need Olise. Ahmad can do the job that Olise can do. And his recovery from that knock from the game of Arsenal has gone ahead to show me that he is that player that we need. And he saw to it that Newcastle, we are targeting him. I tell you, he was the most forward player on the pitch tonight. If at all you went ahead to watch everything very, very well. Abraham is Zeng. Thank God, my brother, you are doing great, sir. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing great too. Slivia Onyayit, Amrabat is the man to talk about, guys. Why don't you sign him permanently, guy? We have to. I've told you, we have to. We have to sign him permanently. Happy Chris, congratulations, United. Thank you. Silva Onyayit. Already, my man of the match is Ahmad Diallo and Amrabat, one of them. We'll see that into what we call the player ratings that are going to be recorded and obviously uploaded onto this channel. Then maybe Jira Prita, I like Amrabat. I do love Amrabat too. Slivia Onyayit, Amrabat was everywhere in the field, guys. You are right. He was everywhere on the pitch. Then Happy Chris, Ahmad, Amrabat, Bruno were like, wow. All right. Abraham is saying Amrabat is class. Obviously, he has gone ahead to really get back to the Amrabat that we saw sign from Fiorentina, and his performance at the World Cup were really exquisite, and that is the Amrabat we really saw. Happy Chris, should we say these players have been not playing on manager's instructions? No, the manager lacked what we call a perfect combination from the back. When you lose out your central defense, there is no way you come out and really win, and it's going to have to cost Newcastle a little bit that Steve Butman and Fabian Schär were out, and Fabian Schär came in later. So every time you're not having your central defense and midfield intact, then you don't really perform very well. Ten Hag is going to have to sound it on several occasions, and I think it's going to have to reflect out well in this game. But every time you're not having Rashford on that pitch, you see how things happen. Even Bruno, when drops in the midfield, that midfield becomes porous. Onyayit, RD, Bruno has done his work today to Rasmus Højlund. That was his work. Yeah, he has gone ahead to do it very well, and I've gone ahead to give him his flowers. If I told you watch the video at the beginning, I said Bruno looked out for Rasmus Højlund, though it wasn't that ball that you thought it was a clean finish. Sorry, a chance that was like a just tap in, but you love it when Rasmus Højlund is being given such chances and converts them, meaning that even half chances, he can turn them into goals, because that was a half chance. You know, he had to really use his energy, run into the 6 box area, shoot that ball into the bottom corner. But Bruno just saw him out, and I'd love to see that happen in several games. If Bruno can look out for Rasmus Højlund in the game of Brighton, the game of Man City, I think we can beat Brighton, and then even in the final we can go all out and really beat the side of Man City, because all we need is Bruno to look out for Rasmus Højlund 3 times in that game, and I tell you, out of the 3 chances, Rasmus will score 1 or 2, and maybe another chance will come in through, because if you get Man City at its back, you can really cause havoc to it. Happy Chris, flowers to the future generation having all scored in the same match. Yeah, 3 players, Rasmus Højlund, Ahmad Diallo, Kobbie Mainoo, all on target. That is the future generation that has gonna hit, obviously coming through to give us the best of happiness today. For Kobbie Mainoo is always obviously in every game has been a man. Obviously that is Silva Onyayit, and I tell you what, that performance gets him into the starting 11 for the England national team in Germany in the Euros. Blessed Lays, Aradi, just happy for Ahmad. I'm very happy for him because I've been one of those people that I've always hate obviously coming through and advocate for him to come in the team. And when he got his chance, he hasn't gone ahead to disappoint. That is the beauty of this lad. We should use the same squad against City. I think when you're playing against City, you'll have Lisandro Martinez in the central defense with either Rafael Varane or John Evans or Harry Maguire, who will be available. Then I don't know who Ten Hag will choose in the midfield. Will he go for Amrabat or will he go for Casemiro? You get? We wait and see what he'll use into that game of football. But I think he needs to obviously jig a little bit into that team when we are really playing against Man City. Do you decide to go with the midfield three of Amrabat, Kobe Mainoo, and Casemiro? Or you spare one of those onto the bench and you bring him on later? We are having Monezero Gideon. I agree with you on Amrabat. Thank you, my brother. But smash like button, like never before. Then we are having Silva Onyate. Garnacho today was selfish. The last two matches, why Garnacho is not doing well in the decision making is becoming a problem to him. His end product of the game is really lacking and he should work upon it. If he doesn't, I tell you, we are in for it because we need to be having all those outlets serving in. Like you saw Ahmad giving in, and creating chances. That's what we need to get from the left attacking side of the midfield. That's why earlier I told you, if Garnacho can really copy just that composure, bit of it from Amad Diallo and really reduce on his running every time he gets the ball, then he will be a very deadly player. As we are having Amad Diallo is going to compete with Saka to be the best right wingers in the season. They all play the same style. I think, guys, I tell you, it's not that I support Man United, but Amad Diallo's skill set is really different. Look at how he gets the ball, and I've gone here to see people saying that he's a mechanic, he's a hard player. He's a swift player, and he can skip past players, He inverts inside very well, and he's not like Saka, because Saka's game is so much towards the byline. But how many times do you see Amad Diallo go to the byline? He's this kind of person who inverts inside and wants to leave that byline to the fullback, and Diallo is going to be the biggest beneficiary of Amad Diallo. And I tell you, in the game of today, all Arsenal, if Diallo was being played, like in the game of today, if Diallo was being played as the right back, you would have gone ahead to see to it that. You would have gone ahead to be given in very many chances or balls by Ahmad, because Ahmad leaves that side blank and inverts inside very well. Apostle John says, bro, I agree with you 100%. Amrabat, Ahmad, Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho really play their heart out for the team, especially our captain Bruno and also the center forward Rasmus Højlund. And I think we now have the gist of the team. That is it. We have the gist of the team with us. That's why I would love to keep Amrabat here at the club of Man United. So guys, for whoever who has gone ahead obviously watching it through, thank you for obviously keeping it United Matters channel. Congratulations to Man United for really winning this. And I tell you, we've gone ahead to do the needful. Anthony Gordon has said, it's a big decision. I'm actually quite fond of it. I found of the idea. It should work, but it's not. There is constantly too many mistakes. We missed too many chances to blame anything else, but we could go one up and the game changes. It's a clear and obvious mistake. I don't know how you can get it wrong. Either get rid out of it. It's simple. He's talking about the penalty, but it's not a call because Man United has gone ahead obviously go out to lose out on very many situations like those. So I tell you, it's one of those moments that you believe Manchester United has gone ahead to come out and really fought for their side as Manchester United. Let's see Opta, what Opta has for us into this game of football before we obviously call it a night or a video. Opta has nothing to say about the stats, but I think we've gone ahead to extend our run of 28 games. I think now 29 games unbeaten. Dewoba Hemuka, congratulations United, thank you, and you've said you are happy today. So I'm out. See you later, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum. We are returning with your player ratings. Turn on your notification bells and continue to subscribe, because you know what it is. We want to hit the magic number of 18,000 subscribers. Bye-bye for now, and good night for everyone who has been part of this. Deoba Hemoka says Amrabat to stay. I'm also advocating for him to stay because of what has gone here to showcase us today. Ciao, ciao.